Have you ever seen a deck that just appears to be a pile? Like it's some good cards and does some things, usually ending with a random over the top finisher or combo. The deck didn't seem to have any overarching themes or ideas throughout it. This can sometimes be called a good stuff deck, and I think this is often somewhat disliked by the community at large. I think decks like this can sometimes be called boring or against the spirit of the format. Most players usually associate decks with having a theme or overarching goal other than just winning, especially in casual EDH. Don't get me wrong, I also love decks with wacky themes, but I also think you could make a fun deck that is just pure value. It's a really interesting deck building challenge, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Good stuff decks, how to make them interesting, and how this archetype can be built on a budget. It doesn't need to be full of expensive staples. And if you want to buy any of these cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. Using my code TTM will give you a discount and it supports the channel. Thanks to Cool Stuff Inc. for sponsoring the video. So what am I counting as a good stuff deck for this video? Well, it's a deck aiming to simply outvalue your opponents, but in a different way than control decks. A control deck will aim to remove your opponent's value engine, play their own value engine, so that over the course of a game, in the long run, the control deck will have enough resources that they can continually one-for-one your opponents. A good stuff deck is a little different. Instead, you try to outvalue your opponents by simply playing individually high value cards, which usually leads these decks to looking more mid-rangey rather than traditional control. Normally this manifests in a bunch of generic staples. Cyclonic Rift, Smothering Tithe, Wishkar's Expertise, stuff like that. Often a pile of expensive things. But I do think we can use this idea of cards that outvalue our opponents as a theme for a deck. Basically, we can think of spot removal as a one-for-one. You spend one card to remove one card. Normally in 60-card formats, these are fine, but in Commander, it's hard to just one-for-one your opponents forever since you have two extra players. If you want to one-for-one everybody forever, check out my video on control decks. But instead, we can look for cards that do more than just a one-for-one. Board wipes are some of the easiest examples. One card that removes many cards, and Oblivion Stone can be a 1-for-10 or more. Although, of course, most Wraths will destroy your stuff as well, so you have to keep that in mind. If you have cards that are generating value over time, you probably don't want to fill your deck with a lot of board wipes and ruin your own value train. Stepping away from removal, value can be provided in many different ways. Card draw is another simple example. A Mole Drifter gives you one card to replace itself and one more as a bonus, so even if it gets removed, you went up on cards. Creatures that give you resources when they enter are the easiest and safest ways to get value, but there are plenty that draw cards when they deal damage or on upkeep maybe. You can also get value from an enchantment that will continuously make creatures do damage, produce mana, anything like that. Just think about cards that provide more value than one card worth. This might seem obvious, maybe, right? No duh, play cards that get value. But the difference here is the value becoming the theme of your deck. We aren't playing Mole Drifter to flicker it eventually. That would be a blink deck. The blink spell provides no value on its own. You're just playing Mole Drifter and other creatures that get value for the raw value. That's the challenge of making a pure good stuff deck with no synergy at all. It's just all cards that are 2-for-1s or better. And the cool thing about this idea is you can build a deck like this on a low budget. Yeah, most of the best-in-class cards are pricey, but there are lots of value pieces which are not. How about Hex as an example? This is a 6-for-1, which is incredible value, but unlike other board wipes, you don't have to lose anything. Assuming there are 6 targets that aren't yours. Or maybe Sublime Epiphany. If you pick every single mode, that is definitely more than one card worth of value. Anything with Cascade or Discover, like a Trumpeting Carnosaur, will also provide more value than one card's worth, and all of these cards are under $2. Or how about the classic Titans? They all create immediate value and continue to do so as they pressure your opponents. I am aware I just listed a bunch of big dumb 6-drops, and that might seem like it's way too slow for modern EDH. But I disagree. If you play enough removal that are 2-for-1s, or better, you can get away with big goofy finishers. And it's not like you're not going to get value from your lower cost cards as well. Tyler's Provisioner, Morbid Opportunist, Brass's Tunnel Grinder, Search for Kanta, Claim Jumper are all 3-drops that give you lots of value. Oh, wait, Search for Kanta's 2 mana. Whoops. Anyway, it's a good card. Play it. As long as you're drawing cards early game and removing relevant threats, I don't see how a deck like this would be too slow for brackets 2 or 3. If you were to build a deck like this, what colors would make the most sense? The answer is green. Green does everything. It's only a matter of time before we get a green creature that just wins when it enters. But you can build a good stuff deck in all colors. There are value pieces everywhere. The only issue is that in red and white, you might be low on card draw specifically. This can be supplemented by colorless cards like Mind's Eye or Chamil the Inner Sun, or virtual card advantage, things like mana sinks that can let you get more value without actually spending cards. Alright, how about some commander suggestions that would work well for a good stuff deck? First thing that comes to mind is Tasigur. Tasigur by himself can create a lot of value. Repeatedly getting a card back from the bin is great, and with politics, you can even get the right card that you want back. Really, any commander with an activated ability you can repeatedly use, like Memnarch or Vona, Butcher of Magan, are great options for good stuff decks. Or commanders that draw cards, Toski, Sabsunin, Luxa Embodied, or Keranos, God of Storms, commanders like that. And one of my personal favorites for good stuff decks is Yidris Maelstrom Wielder. I feel like I haven't seen this commander in a while, and a lot of people have forgotten how insane he is. But if you're already playing a bunch of Discover and Cascade cards, giving them an additional instance of Cascade with each spell will let you generate a comical amount of value. I think making a deck that is pure value with no synergy is a really interesting deck building challenge. It's almost antithetical to how players usually think about commander decks. And to me, that's what makes a good stuff deck, well, interesting. Plus, it is really easy to lean into a slight sub-theme if you don't want to go no synergy. I mean, with Tasigur, for instance, you can add a political spin to your deck. Lots of politics cards can be 2-for-1s if your opponents agree to your terms. This idea of having a no synergy deck might seem weird, but there are other upsides. Your deck is very consistent. If each card provides value on its own, then you can never draw the wrong half of your deck, like you would in a Blink deck, for example. Additionally, efficient cards are often considered to be the best in Magic, and in most formats, this is true, but we tend to assume that that means mana efficiency, as opposed to card efficiency. In casual EDH, value reigns supreme, so as long as you can live to see that value, you can win with any big dumb 6-drop you want, as long as you play a bit of removal. I don't know if I have a perfect example of a deck like this, but my Mina and Den list is fairly close. I've made a whole video about it. There's a link below to all my deck lists if you want to take a look at it. Although I plan on making some changes to that list, so in the future maybe this won't be as accurate. But it's fairly close to a good stuff deck, although not budget friendly. If this deck building idea seemed of interest to you, let me know in the comments below. I think it's a fun thing to try out. And if you already have a deck like this, tell me about that as well. Lastly, Paul Kellerman asks, what's one of your favorite smaller content creators? Personally, I know this isn't a Magic channel, but I really love Ghoul Productions. Their stuff is so funny, so unique. They have a mix of like claymation, 3D animation, hand-drawn animation. Watching each video is like an insane fever dream. Oh my god. Oh, the new cave one is so good. Like, they're all bangers. Honestly, I love this channel. It's really cool. Go check it out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you want to be in the Patreon and ask questions like this, or be in the credits here, or get Discord access and other perks, check it out, link below.